So I just woke up. Saturday I had a shoot. I don't know why, but I was really wrong on my assessment. I was just really thinking that they needed help and that I really needed to be there to help. And who am I? Really. But anyway, that's what I was thinking. I don't know why. Little, what's the word I'm looking for? Prideful, I guess. Whatever. But anyway, it's a cool thing. It's sort of a mini drama, but not necessarily. I didn't even know the script. I misread the call sheet. Got there at like 8:30, but the call said company 9 and then crew 10. And technically I was not company because I wasn't even gaffer. I thought I was going to be gaffer, but I don't know why. Anyway, I get to the shoot. It's raining. We knew it was going to rain. It fortunately wasn't a major rain. It was just annoying rain. Anyway, one guy meets me there. I can't remember his name, but I really want to. So he just comes up and he starts telling me what to do. And he knew some terms, like he knew combo stand. He knew, so I'm like, what? Who is this guy? Anyway, but anyway, at some point I'm like, okay, so what's your role here? And he's like, I'm gaffer. I'm like, oh, okay. And it took me a minute because, to realize, because I was like, oh, why am I even here? Because, I did it myself, right? I guess I have a savior complex where I need to go be the one that saves the day. And I admit that. I know that's an issue, right? When I'm not doing that, I don't feel so great. But anyway, I stayed, I hooked up. I did what I could do and got to a point where I was like, okay, I know I'm not the savior, but let me just do what I came out to do, was to help in any capacity necessary. So I did. That's how it kind of started off for me. So let me tell you about the event, or the shoot, right? So the first scene was going to be well, first of all, this house was beautiful. It was built in the early 1800s, but it's all modern inside. Well, even outside it looks modern. It's all modern, but the only remnants of the 1800s you could tell were some of the doorways were a little narrow. The hallways were a little more narrow than everything else. It was cool, very cool. Anyway, the first of 2 scenes that we were shooting that day were in the attic, and then the second scene was in a workshop, which is a more modern garage. I mean, you can pull a car in there, but it's a workshop. It's a wood workshop, basically. Nice man cave. Anyway, so the attic was fun, right? It was on, this is a 2-story, so we go up to the second story, and then we go up the stairs. And the stairs, it's hard to explain. You have to bend down to get into the attic because the stairs go up at the arch, So you're bending down and over. And so anyway, what the scene is, this woman inherits a house and she's going through boxes up in the attic. Well, you don't know that at this point, and I don't know if I even really have it right, because I didn't even read the script before I was there. But because I was there so early, I read this portion of the script. And suspense is built into the script. You don't really know a lot. Yeah. So I like it. Get the lowdown in the attic, and Gaffer's just any kind of light, maybe some neg, and I have scraps of duotine, but I also have a brand new roll, and I was like, I didn't want to cut the roll up until this was totally volunteer too, by the way. I just felt like I had to do it. And I'm glad I did. I am. Because I met some really good people, creative people. I love the script. I love the look we got out of it. So the attic, right? The main thing was going to be there was a window at the back end of the attic that they wanted backlit. And of course it's 3 stories off the ground, right? So I was thinking, when I first got there, I was thinking, well, maybe I'll just put up there was a ledge there. Now, I don't have anything that would go up that high. But I was thinking I got something close. And then I could put like a regular arm up and get a mirror up there so that we could shoot a light into the mirror so that it would come at the right angle. But the gaffer just said, just give me a combo. And we found a ladder and we put, some pancakes down to spread the load. And he put it up there and he put the arm out with his 400X with IP rated light. So I need some of those. Anyway, he put that up and it was nice hard light coming in. It was kind of one of the first sets that I've been on where they embraced hard light. I like hard light in the right scenes. You don't want it on a beautiful actor's face, but unless they're a horror movie, anyway, definitely embraced the hard light. So that was cool. So I helped get all the gear. The gaffer did that, brought the combo up the ladder and did all that, which was cool because I didn't want to in the rain. I would have, but I'm glad he was there. In the meantime, I'm getting a bunch of options because, I never worked with these people, so I don't know what they're thinking. I saw a lookbook, but I didn't. It was all kind of mostly generic. This kind of Hallmarky type film. So, but anyway, I was like, there's not really power up in the attic, so I brought a GVM panel with batteries. I brought my new Siriu 300 bicolor, which one's on V mounts, just in case we needed power. I brought some negative. I brought a couple little practical lights, just in case we needed a little fill on here or there. There was also some stuff hanging, so I brought it to put over the pipe that was hanging in this, so no one would bang their head. I put a tennis ball in the end. What else? No, that's about it for up there. So, and you couldn't have a lot of people up there because it was small, and I could not stand even in the peak of it. So I just didn't want to be up there. And there was a lot. There was 2 cameras. There was a PS guy. I guess that's what he was. I don't know his actual function, but he was getting BTS, but he was also doing other things. People run around. So I'm like, you know what? I'm going to get the second scene. I'm going to get some fixtures out there, some options out there so that we can, once we get out there, we can jam it out fairly quickly. Again, I didn't really know the blocking or anything. I didn't know where the cameras were going to be, etc. So I set up what I thought. It was wrong. Well, it was mostly right, actually, in the end. But when company finished with the other scene and they came back to the second scene, Gaffer's like, we got to move that. It's, the camera, that's going to be in the shot. I'm like, oh, is it? Okay. All right, well. So, but I did, in the garage, I did a number of things because a lot of times I like to bounce light off of the ceiling just to use make it a big soft source. And they did want soft light, or at least that was what was communicated to me. And but the ceiling was all dark, so it wasn't really bounce material. So what I wound up doing was hanging a 4x4 ultra bounce floppy on the ceiling, and then I put my projector with a 500 into it to bounce down to give ambient light. And we actually wound up using that mostly. I had to turn it down a little more than I had it, but and again, the camera wasn't where I thought it was going to be. It was on the other side, so that's fine. I brought my my new Kino Flow and had that for what I thought was going to be the main key source, and I had it motivated kind of from a window that was back there, but which I thought was going to be in the shot, but it wasn't. But anyway, we did need that. No, actually, we didn't use my Kino. We wound up using my Falcon Eyes Flux Mat, 100 water, and that was for the backlight. But as it turns out, the camera was showing a window on the other side. So the way I had it set up was like lit from the wrong side. The motivated light was coming from nowhere, and you saw a window that should have been giving us light. Also, what I had been told before was like there was this window and you could see a Mustang outside, and they didn't want to see the Mustang. So we talked about it like 3 different times. It was like, we can put neutral density on it. I can black it out, or I can put like a white diffusion over there. And DP says he would prefer ND. So that's what I did. I took my brand new roll and put 2 layers of ND on each pane. So it was pretty dark. Essentially, it would have been blacked out. But I figured I could take 1 layer off if it was too dark. That was my plan. But anyway, because we get in there, we find out where the cameras are for real. That needed to be kind of the motivation for the light. So I just took the ND off of the windows and opened up a frame and put it up in front of that so that it was like diffused light coming in. We also put another light out there with another little diffusion, and that light was the Gaffer's. Again, it was his 400X IP rated light. So I've been fortunate enough that I haven't had to put lights up in the rain. I have plans for that. I have like umbrellas and stuff and bags and stuff to protect the lights, but I gotta get some good, at least 1 or 2 good, powerful IP rated lights. So that's the plan for next purchase. Anyway, what else? I don't know. We wound up, that was essentially the setup, but it was kind of cool because once again, my Kev has everything kind of thing came out. And, actually, let me go back, because as I'm setting up all by myself the garage, as everyone's inside shooting the attic scene, and getting my head right with where I wasn't the gaffer, which is fine. So, I get all the options out there. I have plenty, because I thought we were going to wind up blacking out some of the windows, boost more contrast, but turns out that didn't happen. But anyway, I go in, I get to a point where if I do any more, then it's stupid. So I go in, I watch, and I help out a little bit here and there. I watch the end of the scene upstairs, and I learned that there's another shot or 2 they need down at the bottom of the stairs, so I started getting ready for that. It was real quick, it was handheld, so I said, well, handheld the camera, I'll handhold the light. So that's what we did. I wound up Hollywooding the light for that. That was cool. We had the backlight on as well, which was the JBM panel from the attic. But what else? So yeah, we had lunch. At lunch, of course, in the beginning of lunch, myself and the gaffer were kind of striking stuff, getting stuff down, before we even really had lunch. He broke for lunch before I did because I was still running around getting stuff out of the attic. And, he brought down the light for outside. He just left it out front, but whatever. And we had lunch, talked, joked around. At this point, I'm already getting the vibes that people think, hey, Kevin has everything. So anytime someone would ask for something, they'd be like, hey, Kev, do you have this? I'm like, yeah. And I was wearing the vest with all the pockets. I had my fanny pack on, and I had my tape roll. So I was pretty prepared. But there was, a number of times I had to run out to the trailer and grab stuff. But I can't think of anything that we didn't have they asked for, except what, the IP rated light. Anyway, so we had lunch, and everyone was, you know what, I'm going to go and cuddle next to my dog while I record the rest.
We're not going to play in the house, though. Oh, now you got your paws on me, huh? Okay, come on. Here's my girl.
All right, so anyway, we had lunch and talked, joked. It was cool. So after lunch, we get to the point where, okay, we moved to the workshop area, and everyone's getting stuff set up. They're like, hey, do you have any of these? Do you have any of those? They're like, hey, do you have a couple of quarter apples? I'm like, yeah. Mm-hmm. So I went and got 2 quarter-pound apples, and I found out what they were trying to use it for was to boost up a sander, so it would be better foreground info. But the apples weren't big enough to get all the legs safely. So they're looking around for something else. So I'm like, well, I have 2 more. They're just not all in the same place in the truck, in the trailer. So I wound up going and fishing out the other 2, and I came back, and they're like, awesome. And so we got that raised up like they wanted. And that was kind of the moment where this guy has everything. A version of everything. Maybe not the best, but whatever. So, we tweaked light around, did this, did that, the other thing. I already talked about some of that. Getting ready to shoot. And Gaffer and I realized, okay, this is the only scene where we might move around, but I have a lot of stuff in there that we don't need. So we started moving some of it out because that's the last scene. So, make it easier to strike at the end of the day. I think it was, I don't know when it was, but at some point I realized, I have in my trailer, I have the shelves, right? I've got my grip cart, which is narrow, but it also has all the flags on it, which is cool. But this gig and many other gigs, that grip cart didn't come off, so it just blocked access to stuff that I needed. So the plan is I got to reorganize, and I am probably going to build one more shelf from the back on the right side where I can put some milk crates that are currently on my grip cart. But I want to be able to leave that grip cart at home so I have access to all the gear easily. And then I also have the new cart, which again was worthless Saturday, because it was raining. There's stairs. It was just in the way. So, and I didn't really get a look at the location either, in my defense. So, but anyway, I need to have the option to take both carts off, so that I can get to other stuff. Because I think in this case, had I been able to it would have been nice to bring my video card in so that, you know, everybody could see the monitor. They did have options. The director had, they were using Sony cameras, so they gave her a phone with the app, the Sony app on it, and so she could see what was, you know, so she could see the frame and, you know, make adjustments or give direction, basically. Incidentally, the DP told me he has at least 2 FX6s. He's got FS7. I think he said an FX9, which you know, I'm drooling over. He's got I think he said a couple of FX3s. So he had, I mean, just naming all that, he's got buku bucks in cameras and batteries and media and glass. You know, I didn't quite see much of his glass, but the main thing he was using was Sony glass, but G Master 2. Again, I think it was a 24-70 G Master 2. Beautiful lens, though. It didn't look as generic as a G Master. Anyway, what else? So yeah, so back to we're taking stuff out as they're getting everything done. There's a couple of times I'm like, yeah, maybe I should throw a little bit of light up here and see what happens. And they did, and nobody saw it, but the frame saw it. That's okay. I'm all right with that. I was just really trying to get that dark light thing going, the checkerboard thing, and added a little pocket of light that, you know, whatever. Then there's, so they do that. They get all the pickups from that. And then there was one shot where they had to look into the other room and see a picture. So that background the picture itself needed to be lit. In the rest of the room, and we're like, how are we going to get that? You know, because I wanted the picture to have the most light, you know, be the brightest thing in the picture, because it was going to be, I mean, they zoomed into it, which is not often in film, but I guess it worked. Anyway, so I put up a light, you know, actually I just grabbed one of my little 40-watt handheld lights, and then I just brought in a flag to knock down whatever was spilling on the white cabinets, and that was pretty good. So, and we had already previously stuck a tube light up underneath the cabinets, so there was a little bit there, and I just knocked that down in brightness down to like 1%. I guess that's about it, really. Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of tweaking. That was also funny because in the scene, the woman comes in the door, and the door wasn't closing behind. She's carrying 2 cups of coffee, and she had a hard time closing the door. So I'm like, well, why don't I get out there, duck down, and you close it, and I'll just finish closing it. And like, no, that won't work. And a couple of takes go by, and the other gaffer winds up getting outside and ducking down and closing the door, closing the door for him. So that was, you know, that was the thing. There was a couple other shots. I had the Hollywood, one of my tube lights outside because, you know, for whatever. Hopefully that one matches, because we should have shot it earlier to match the daylight, but when we realized that we didn't get it, it was darker outside quite a bit. So we went to the second ISO, changed the lighting all to match as best we could. I went outside with the tube light to give a little ambient on her, and I think it'll match. But anyway, they shot yesterday as well, but I couldn't be there. I didn't even know they were going to shoot Sunday. But the next shoot day is the Saturday, the 27th. It's going to be an evening, I think. They might find some stuff to do during the day. I'm not sure. But apparently power is a problem for that one. So it's like battery lights would be good. Okay, noted. I have a few. But anyway, I, of course, can bring my generator, but my generator's a little too loud for this. We could run it around the corner, put some sound blankets as a wall to make the sound go away from the camera, but that's for the next shoot. But that was it. I didn't get a whole lot of BTS myself because, again, when I'm on set, my priority is the job. So I didn't get too much BTS. But in the end, someone would mention something. They're kind of cold, and they're like, "Hey, someone have a blanket?" And I was like right there. I'm like, because I have my sound blankets, my Fernies. So I'm like, here. Like, oh my God, she's got everything. I knew it was just a joke, but still, it was fun. But anyway, pretty much everybody will, trading contact information. The problem with the dot card is, they scan it and then they download my stuff, but they don't enter theirs and send it to me all the time. So now, a lot of people, I don't have their info. But I can at least reach out to Maggie and the ones that I do have their info, and we can get stuff happening. That one is? Yeah. Okay. So anyway, I'm going to stop, call this an episode, and throw it out there. I'm just really enjoying things. I do have a job coming up. I got to read the script for, I say I'm going to end, and then I keep going, right? So I have a job coming up for a decent job. It's commercial. Nothing much to speak about. It's kind of a person given, talking heads kind of stuff, is from what I understand. Nothing much, not even bringing the whole trailer. It's just hired me for gaffer, some lighting package, and audio. So I have Kelly coming out to do the audio for me. And really, it's most likely going to be one person, but I'm going to get a second boom 600 because it's I wanted to match. I wanted the second one anyway, but whatever. We talked about labs. He doesn't like labs, but I'll probably, because we got the channels available, I'll probably put a lab on as safety, or at least just use my Ceramic wireless labs. We'll just put them on and use them as safety because they're 32-bit. But that job's coming up. And then the 3 days, that's a Thursday. And then there's from last weekend, the actress is doing the actress from Sierra is doing her own short and needs a gaffer. Money is really tight. I know that I happen to have seen their fundraiser, and they raised $3,000 for the whole 3 days. So I don't know, but she was like, I'll take payment plan and this and that. I really liked using you. I really want the best out of this thing. So I'll probably do it on the cheap. I'm not gonna do payments. I don't think. I don't know. Depends. Because it's an indie thing. It's a passion project. She doesn't work. She's like, I'll be getting a job soon, then I can do payments. I guess she's living with parents, so she probably doesn't have rent and stuff. So I don't know. I just have a heart for people with no money, like myself. I mean, I have money, but I don't because I buy gear. But anyway, so that would be a Monday, Tuesday, and a Wednesday. And then I had the Thursday gig. And my biggest thing is doing discounts for work on a weekday when I have to take day off from my job. That's not, and it's not a whole lot of notice right now. So I don't know if I'm going to do all 3 days. Might do one and help her out. I don't know. Also, let's see what else. There's another thing that I started to talk about in that little quickie thing. The dude wrote something. I thought it was going to be a comedy. It's not. It's actually pretty heavy. It's about, taking our masks off that we built due to abuse. So it's kind of heavy. To me, there's no message. It's just, the message isn't clear, I should say. We got to take our masks off and heal from abuse. But that's really all the message that I was able to pull out of it. But I'm very literal, so I don't pick up on a lot of the what's the word I'm looking for? Whatever, the symbology and stuff like that. But whatever. So I got that coming. Then I have that other horror movie film for November. I haven't even talked to him again. I gave him my thoughts on it being really ambitious and having a Burning Man and all that kind of thing. So I don't know if that's going to happen. He's got to rewrite it some to be able to make it. Even if he does raise the $50,000 that he's trying to raise, that's still not much money for 20 days of shooting a feature with like Burning Men and stuff like that. So anyway, starting to get a lot of work. Starting to get some full-time or full wage work, which is good. I'm making really good contacts. And as this channel is really just about me documenting my journey, getting back into the business after 20 some years, it's great. I've been doing stuff over the years and keeping my skills going and stuff. Nowadays But I'm having fun in the meantime, and I'm getting more and more in shape than I used to be. So this 50-some-year-old body is getting a little better, achy. But the only problem, most of the aches are just muscular, like, workout muscular. Some of it is arthritis and whatnot, but deal with that. It is what it is. But anyway, that's long enough. So I'll go cut this up and hopefully put it out. Because it's Memorial Day. It's not even 8 o'clock yet. And I have some stuff to do with my daughter to help her with her thing. And what else? I'm going to try and spend some time with the family and pet the doggies some more, right? We're going to pet the doggies. Yeah. I got to pet you. I got to baby. Oh, yeah. All right, so we're going to stop.